Hello and welcome to your weekly State of Affairs program here on QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, broadcasting live from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue. My name is Aliu Sise. Well, as we look ahead to 2025, we are honored to be joined on this week's program by Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority, Yankuba Dabo, to actually reflect on this year's achievements, but equally to look at, pressing challenges and uncover the authority's vision for a more robust and efficient tax administration system. CG, good to have you on the program. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, Aliu, for having me for the second time in this program.
I think last time I had you was 2 years ago.
Yes,
and it's
exactly.
good to have you. But we understand you are so busy, but it's good to have you once again on the program. Like I said, we're coming to end of 2024, going into 2025. Gambia Revenue Authority, Gambia being a tax-based economy, and you are mandated under law to collect tax for national development. Will you just evaluate, the institution's overall performance this year in terms of, revenue collection targets?
Thank you so much once again for inviting me here today to discuss about issues in relation to our work at Gambia Revenue Authority. To start with, yes, it was not an easy year for us as revenue collectors, but we have a mandate and we have responsibilities to do this, because at the end of the day, the government of the day is relying on us, to make sure that the assignment or that we've agreed with them, we fulfill that. And in that respect, we always try to put our house in order, in that once the target is agreed between us and Minister of Finance in consultations with the IMF, we always make sure that internally we reorganize ourselves to make sure that that target, whatever it is achieved. And
so what was the target for this year? And
this year target was 19.2 billion. Okay. Coming from last year, 2023, target was 15.2 billion. But at the end of the year, we collected 15.7 billion. So based on that, the new target that we have this year is 19.2, which is about a 4 billion additional tax that we need to collect for this year. If you check the target that we're coming from, that's the 15.2 billion. So we have a target of 19.2 billion this year.
So was this as a result of tax increment or just efficiency?
The Minister of Finance and JRA, these days we are not looking of increasing taxes. The policy directive is not in line with that. What we do, JRA in consultations with Minister of Finance, basically it's to broaden the tax base so that those that are not within our tax bracket comes in, and work more on reducing the inefficiency that is in the tax system and leveraging on the technology so that we will be able to collect the targets that they are given to us. And this is what we have been doing. But it's not because we intend to increase taxes or tax rate. That's why that increment comes in. The belief is that the policy is going around broadening tax base, reducing the inefficiency, and leveraging on the technology. And with that process, we are able to do what we are doing.
I'm talking about broadening, your tax base. What were some of the key areas that you felt JRA wasn't focusing more on that, and it was, causing losses of revenue to the state? Basically,
if you look at it, in the past, most of the time, the revenue collection is based on manual.
Yeah.
And in human involvement was too much. So we have realized of recently that countries that are developed, developing countries, why they are collecting so much tax with little effort is because they leverage on technology. And this is why JRA also in consultations with Minister of Finance, we plan to change everything from manual to digitalization. And since we started this couple of years ago, on a gradual process, we are moving to digitalize our processes. But then we have realized they are paying dividend. Because if you look at our targets in the past years, we are able to meet the target, not necessarily increasing tax rate, but because we are gradually digitalizing our processes and procedures, and that paying dividend such that all the targets that they are giving us, we are able to get, simply because of the digitalization.
And aside from that, I understand you also you introduced tax for entertainment, on entertainment rather. I mean, these are areas that, they weren't paying tax.
I mean, yes, that's true, but it's not like it was not there taxes for those people who comes and make money. In terms of our work, any activity that you do within the country, economic activity, and you gain something out of it, you need to pay tax.
So basically,
those people is provided in the law.
Okay.
Maybe it was not. It was something that we not applied, but it is already there because it is an economic activity. It's an activity that they do. Yeah. That's their work, and they gain money. So imagine somebody comes only one night or two nights, you have about $15 million, and then you go away with all the 15 million without paying any tax. Is it fair? When the minimum tax bracket then was around 24,000, you earn within that 24,000 minimum of 2,000, you are charged a tax, for example. Yeah, somebody who earns an amount of 15 million over a one night or two, you let it go without paying tax. Is it fair? It is not, but it's already catered by the law. Maybe it was not active then, but we've realized that we should make sure that all the areas that need to be, where tax need to be collected, we will go in, we will go out for it.
And aside from that, what will you look back, 2024, as the major challenges for GRA?
Well, revenue collections goes with challenges. First, power, energy supply is a major challenge for us. Like, we are doing digitalization, and we have servers at the level of head office where these servers are on a live support of energy. We do have standby generators, but they can go for a period of time. So whenever we have power shortage for a very long time, the generators cannot work 24/7 all over like that. There's a time they will stop. And once the generators stop, it would mean that our operation countrywide will be affected, because that is also a disadvantage of digitalization. So you have to maintain that, and to do that is also very expensive for us. But to keep a generator for 24/7 is you have to buy a lot of fuel, and not only that, but the generators itself, if it stayed like that, will it have a long life? So if you ask me, the major challenge that we face over the period is power shortage.
And what have you done about it?
The only thing we do is we try to have more consultations with NAWEC, trying to tell them that most of the time when night goes off, we call. And when we called, we try to say that, look, it is necessary for them to supply this area, because this area is important. I'm not saying other areas are not important, but that area is very key, where we are. So without electricity for a long time, it affects our operation. That's one area. The other one is we have generator. We bought two separate generators. When one works for 24 hours, goes off another one, and then in addition to that, we also create some power bank for the server. So we have alternative source of energy, but the main source is, which is NAWEC. We rely on them. Mm-hmm.
You earlier on mentioned, you exited the target for this year. Mm-hmm. You said it's not as a result of, GRA increasing tax, but rather broadening, the tax base, and of course, leveraging on technology. Yeah. You talk about digitalization. Could you just share with us the specifics? What were the new, digital stuff that you introduced to help you, maximize, revenue collection?
Yeah,
I'm sorry about the Asikuda War and others.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are leveraging on the technology, and that is what is helping us to get to this level. Digitalization first and foremost. You go to the ports, you've seen the state-of-the-art scanner. A scanner that is there. It's a drive-through. You just come and drive and go, and it takes the pictures of everything. So that tells you that that helps us to know what kind of goods are passing. And because the payment of taxes are based on the type of goods. So it's not like all the containers have one charges. Some containers can pay, one container can pay 5 million or even more. Others can pay barely 500,000 or even 150,000. So depending on the goods that are there. So the essence of the scanner help us to know whether what you have declared is what is in your container. So that's one area that's really helping us in terms of technology to know exactly what people are bringing. And that scanner is functioning and is up to date. And in addition to that, within the port area, we also have the digital weight bridge. The weight bridge that also is fixed so that all the bulk cargoes that are coming. Here, when we mean say bulk cargo, we're referring to sugar, flour, rice, cement, etc. So each of those ones, when they are coming, they will the importers will declare the quantity, and then we will see the quantity, but we don't have any means of verifying the quantities that they declare to us. So now that we have the digital weight scale there, that anything that comes in pass through, we now know exactly the weight of those goods because their charges are based on that. So that also is another area that is helping us.
So I mean you cannot declare?
No, well, no. If you can do it before, now you cannot. Because if you do it, you will be detected. It will be detected. So now we are happy that if there will be any leakage in that area, it's now closed. As well as the dry containers that come through the scanner. So these are some of the things that really are helping us at Banjul Port. And the National Single Window Platform, which is also something that we come up with Minister of Finance. This platform is helping the players around, the stakeholders, like the shipping agencies, the clearing and forwarding agencies. They are using a platform where all of them use the same platform to do their work easily. Unlike before, it was difficult to do that. And they have also information from the shipping agency in advance. So that's something also that's really helping us, among other things, when you look at the operation. Because we have a lot of reforms that we have in place that lead us to get this money that we are getting. And without necessary, to answer your question, without necessarily increasing the tax rate, but leveraging on technology. And maybe just to add you something, the Asikuda wall, we move from Asikuda Plus to Asikuda wall. Asikuda wall now, it's a system that is a very good in terms of enforcement tool, in terms of doing procedures and processes of international trade. I was in my house today. Somebody called me from England. He's a clearing agent. He traveled. He's on holiday. He called me. He said, CG, I am now declaring, I'm doing my end of month report for the OMCs.
Without going to the office?
He's in England. Because the practice is that this is a web-based system. Anywhere you are, in America, anywhere. This guy is in UK. So he is sitting down there, getting all the information, doing the work on behalf of the importer. And he is, like, on a daily basis, he's monitoring his office too. So you see how advantageous technology is. We don't restrict you to be in one area, but you can be anywhere. And Asikuda wall has that power. It gives you that leverage to sit anywhere, even in your house, out of the Gambia, in the Gambia. You do your declaration. It allows you to even do the assessment, get your print out, take it to the bank and pay. So that system is so good that, you know, it in terms of trade facilitation, it's doing wonderful. And it's helping us in terms of efficiency. Even those who normally come to us for trade facilitation, referring to as direct delivery facility. You have a consignment at the port, which you are not supposed to pay maybe 10 million. But you know, to pay 10 million upfront is difficult. for anybody, even if the person is rich, but it's difficult. So we have a system where we can allow the businessman to apply to do the declaration. We know that you are supposed to pay 10 million. Then we give you a facility called direct delivery. You go and sell your product. Within 30 days, you come back and settle your duty. Or in other cases, you have applied for a duty waiver at Ministry of Finance. And the process is going on. You have your goods. So you don't want to keep the goods at the port because of demurrage. You come and apply for direct delivery system. And now facility. Or similarly, you may have your papers at JIPA to look for SIC, Special Investment Certificate. And the process is taking some time, some weeks. And as a result, you have your goods that are there. Now you will come to GRA and say, I have my document either at JIPA or it is at the Ministry of Finance, and I want you to give me facility to take my goods so that I will not pay demurrage. And at the end of the day, once I have this document, I'll come and pay. In the past, what used to happen, when we give that kind of facility to people, they will go 6 months, some will go even 1 year. They will not have the duty waiver because they are not qualified for it, but they will never come back and pay. And then the same thing like the JIPA, SIC, they will not have the investment certificate. Special investment certificate. They will not have it, and they will not. But now that they have their goods already from the port, so people have to go after them physically, our enforcement team. But with the coming of the Asikuda wall, that is a thing of the past. Now you get that facility. If you don't come back within a month, the system will block you and block the clearing agents who help you to do that declaration. As a matter of fact, when you have goods, you have to go through a clearing and forwarding agencies to do the process for you. Or if you are a business established, you may decide to establish your own clearing and forwarding within your business. And then you'll be given declarant number, TIN number, and everything, so that when you have your goods, that agent will do it. Otherwise, you have to outsource it to another agent to do that. And what this system does is it blocks the clearing agent and it blocks the importer, so that if the importer is blocked, the subsequent import, they will not be able to use the system. And you need the system because you need to do your declaration to get your goods out. So this is how efficient the system is.
And I mean, let me just ask you this question. I'm so many people watching will be asking. I mean, I often hear people saying, okay, when you're importing, it's much cheaper in a neighboring country than here. Could you just help and shed light on this?
I will not agree to that. Because for those who have visited our neighbors, I mean, most of the things are more expensive there than here. For the longest period of time, we have not increased any tax rate. And if you look at how much people are paying here compared to the others, to me, it's very reasonable.
So what are the various taxes that they pay? I know about the eco levy.
Yeah,
and then,
it's simple because every product that comes into this country, there is a duty element. What we call duty is either 0%, 5%, 10%, or 15%, or 20%, or at worst scenario, 35%. VAT is constant, 15%. But in addition to the duty and the VAT, there are other small taxes that you pay. For example, eco levy, which is 0.5%
and that's
of the CI value. You also have the AU levy, which is 0.2%. So these are payments that you do when you have import. Of course, there are other imports items that you have excise tax element. For example, vehicles, new vehicles and old vehicles, they have what we call excise tax. But basically, these are the four that you pay: the duty, VAT, eco levy, and AU levy.
So to who does the AU and eco levy goes?
Interesting.
I'm asking, but who is it? Well, I know, but I would just like to
I mean, I know it's a very important question that you ask. Gambia belongs to organizations. We are part of ECOWAS, and as such, that there are fees that we are supposed to pay to ECOWAS on an annual basis. So just like any other organization that you join, there are these yearly payments that you do. Now, for Gambia and other countries, or maybe ECOWAS in general, they've agreed that, they've realized that most of the time when they say countries should pay, let's assume, you know, $200,000 or $500,000 as your annual subscription to being a member of ECOWAS. Because ECOWAS as an organization, or AU as an organization, is run by a number of people. And these people must be paid. The offices that they are must be maintained, etc., etc. So that is why in every organization, the most important revenue for them is the subscription that members' countries pay. Then any other thing that comes in, they take it. But the most important thing is the subscription. Now, instead of charging on an annual basis for them, the countries to pay, they've agreed that on their international trade declaration, they quote what we call 0.5% of CIF, cost, insurance, and freight of the goods. So that any good that comes in here, 0.5% is charged, and that money is put together, and we collect it and send it to Central Bank. ECOWAS has their account there. So that money does not go to the government's account. When we collect, at the end of the month, the Asikuda will spell it out, how much money is collected for ECOWAS. But all this money is sent to Central Bank, equally to AU. The subscriptions that we need to pay, now we are collecting it and sending it to Central Bank. So that at the end of the day, whatever that amount to, that will be Gambia's contribution towards ECOWAS or AU. And
as we speak, Gambia is one of the few countries that are up to date.
Yes, I mean, I don't know how you know that, but that is right.
Nigeria just cleared their outstanding debt just
last week. I forgot that you normally go to Nigeria.
So, I mean, let's now look at the issue of another critical sector, the construction sector.
Yes.
I mean, what are you doing about them?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, when we come to the tax system, we have two major operational departments, and that is domestic taxes and customs. The customs deals with international trade, and that is what we were talking more. Now, on the other side is the domestic tax. If you remember way back around 2000, when we had the COVID, it was very difficult for us to get money from international trade because ships were not moving, things were difficult, we don't have containers at the port. So where do we get the money? We leverage on domestic tax. And that is why you have these two steps. Domestic tax are taxes that we generate internally. Now, with the domestic tax also, we are working very hard to see how we can, use technology to get us the money that we need. So in that case, we are coming up with some other, systems. For example, the iTax, which we signed not long ago, and it's coming up. Once we get the iTax, which is also web-based, just like Asikuda, what iTax is going to help us with, we will be able to have the e-services. For example, you can sit down wherever you are, like that gentleman, and do your filing. Now you have to come to GRA to do filing. But if we have that system ready, you don't need to come to GRA. You sit in your office or you're in your comfort zone, do your filing. You do your filing, you do your e-payment, you do your e-refund, everything that is related to you can do it. So that's something that we are working on as a system, to digitalize that system. But to answer your question straight about the construction side, it's not only the construction side is part of the domestic taxes. Each of those companies, because they work in the Gambia, they are doing the economic activity, they are entitled to pay tax on the money that they are making here. So some of them, we call it corporation tax. But in addition to the corporation tax, they also pay withholding tax. They also pay PAYE and other taxes related. So what we do, both systems, the customs and the domestic taxes, is based on self-assessment. We, at the level of GRA, in most cases, if not all, we don't tell you that this company is a construction, this is the amount you come and pay. No. Okay. They have their own accounts department where when they work, at the end of the day, they know the number of staff that are working there. So they check and then put together on site. That's their PAYE, pay as you earn. And then equally, their corporation tax, which they normally pay on a quarterly basis. If they have dealings with outsiders, they also hold withholding,
so
and which they pay to us.
How many percent are we talking about the PA?
The PAYE?
Yeah.
The PAYE for individuals or for the companies?
For the individuals.
For the individual is about, I think, 25%.
Okay.
Yeah, for individuals. So depending on also, you know, when you are calculating PAYE, you don't take the highest.
Yeah.
You take from like 5%, 10%, you know, just essentially the budget speed, it's mentioned there. So you start from, for example, now that we have decided, the government has decided with Minister of Finance that the minimum taxable income will be 36. So if you earn, for example, 0 to 36,000, you don't pay tax unless you have 36,100.
Oh.
Then you start paying tax. The rate you pay
is that the PAY?
PAY. That's
PAY.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. PAY.
I know many people watching will love this one.
No, yeah, because as I said, the government's intention is not to increase taxes, but always to see where they can reduce the taxes for people, but then to increase in efficiency in the system and reduce the inefficiency. But if that happens, the collections will go up, because when leakages happen, that is where we lose most of the revenue. It's not about increasing. So to the policy directive of increasing the taxable income to 36 is welcoming. This means that a lot of people will now, those who are earning less than 36,000, they will not pay. Yeah. On a monthly basis, let's say 30,000, 3,000 plus.
And that will boost their earning.
That will boost their earning. At least they have more money in their pocket. And this is what the government wants in that area.
Does it only apply to those working in government or even in the private sector?
Well, once you are making an economic activity, even the private sector is across. Okay. Because private sector, your accountants knows, they have a booklet which they use to calculate this. So they know exactly who and who should pay what and what. Okay. So, for example, people like you just receive your pay slip, you see that there is a deduction. But the accountants, they use that booklet that they take from GRA, and they use that to make sure that they deduct from you what needs to be done. To finalize with that question, yes, exactly, in the construction side, once they do their payments, we have a tax audit, well-staffed and well-qualified staffs, for that matter. And this audit section is within the domestic taxes. We do random selections of businesses, including construction companies. And we audit them to see, like if you remember I said, is self-assessment. Mm-hmm. All of them are submitting their taxes separately on their own.
Oh, so you don't impose anything
No,
on
we
them?
don't impose anything on any business. But we also have the rights. If we have doubts on you, we come and check. Yeah, and in that case, when we audit you, we realize that you are not doing the right thing, then you are charged with extra tax, as well as you also charge penalty.
That's dishonesty.
Yeah, exactly. So we give everybody benefit of the doubt. In the tax administration, you give people benefit of the doubt until they prove otherwise. And what you do, give them benefit of that, let them file. After filing, paying, then you go after them. So now this is where the honesty is. If you are somebody who keep filing something wrong, when the tax man come to you, you're likely to pay more plus interest and penalty. And like we have it in the domestic taxes, we go after these construction companies. And not only that, even the banks, we go after them.
Oh, okay.
The banks, we go after them, and most of the time when we go there, by the time the audit is finished, we come up with something. Like it is happening in the domestic tax side, we also have it in the international trade. Okay. There is this section called PCA, post-clearance audit. Okay. Those staffs, what their responsibility is, when you clear your container, like I said, you can have your bill of lading, invoice, parking list and everything. You do your own declaration through the Asikuda system. When you do that, at the end of the day, you can go and clear your goods. But after a period of time, our tax audits on that side, they call PCA, post-clearance auditors. They can come after you and then check everything that you have done. And if they realize that what you declare and what you have is not in line with the best practice, then you will be charged extra. And then you have to come and pay that one. So we have it in both sides.
I mean, let's now look at, goods that are coming into the country through the, the land borders.
Yeah.
How do you also monitor them? I remember at some point the issue of the tracking was an issue, especially for trucks coming in from the neighboring countries.
Yes. Thank you very much for that question. What we do is, Aliu, like I said, we are leveraging on technology, and we are trying to digitalize. We used to have a big problem because back in the days, people believe that Senegal is closer to the west, and they bring a lot of vehicles, and some bring their containers, and then they come through the borders to Banjul. Okay. So we used to have a lot of complaints, and we've decided to come with this national single window platform, and which the single window also as a component brought in the e-tracking. Okay. The e-tracking, what it does is we have a room at the head office, and we have another one at Kanifi. And when the goods arrive at the borders, it doesn't matter which border you come, be it Basse, be it Jara Soma N, be it Amdalai, Farafenye, where any border you come in, the e-tracking staffs are there with our officers. Now they will just place, once you declare, you put your declarations, everything in the system as CUDA, then they will put the device at the back of the vehicle, whether it's a container or it's an ordinary vehicle. Once that e-tracking is tacked on the back, the people in Banjul will see you.
Yeah, I was surprised when I visited and I saw in real time,
yes,
you are monitoring the movement of the trucks outside.
Exactly. That's what happened now. On real time, once the e-tracking is on the vehicle.
That's the e-tracker we are having on the...
That's it. Yeah. So it's going to monitor you. And because we also, during the process, all the roads are being geofenced. Okay. If a vehicle decides to move out of your direction, it will alarm.
Yeah, like if you cross the border from Southern and you are going to
the other,
and you get to Garasoma and just Bento.
Exactly, because we suspect greatly some of those things may be happening in the past. Yes. Fine, that is a past. Yeah. But going forward, if you do otherwise, it will alarm, and then the people that are monitoring, a quick reinforcement team will go, and then they will follow you. Wherever you are, they will see you. Because the thing will be alarming, and then it will give, because it's controlled by satellite. Yeah. And in addition to that, we also put all the border CCTV cameras, so that whatever activity is happening, even in Basse, you will sit and see exactly. Yeah, the motors, the vehicles that are coming, motorcycles, everything you will see.
From head office, yeah.
From head office. Yeah, from head office you see everything in live. And also these offices, they are 24/7. 2 independent offices. So that is one of the benefits of technology that we have. Now, those vehicles are secured. If they come through the border, they come directly to Banjul, the processes will be done, they pay their taxes, and we allow them to go.
Great. I mean, the rent taxes is something that's quite controversial. People say, okay, Jaris has introduced taxes on rent. What do you aim to achieve from this, the rent?
Yeah, like I said to you, that this country, we are not blessed with natural resources. And people have to understand that for us to achieve the developments that we want to, we must pay taxes. And to pay taxes is not going to be a small sector of the economy to pay. This has to be broad-based. Everybody doing an economic activity must be involved.
So anyone who's supposed to pay must pay?
Must pay. Yeah. So that is why rental tax is important. For example, there's a lot of development going on within the Greater Banjul area. And it is very clear in the law that if you have a place where you rent and people are there on residence, they have to pay tax. On gross, 8% of the amount. That should come to GRA. If the place is for commercial use, then it's 15%. And this is, I think this is good in the sense that those shops that are rent, they are there in peace, stability, because governments of the day is maintaining that. Security is everywhere. So their businesses they are doing their businesses, they are earning money from those shops because there is peace and stability. Let me just finish. Because they are enjoying peace and stability, which is the responsibility of the government. And therefore, if the government is providing that, it also should be your responsibility. If you are involved in business of real estate, and then you have a property, you are earning money, take part, give the government that belongs to government.
Wouldn't that also force these people into increasing their rents? Because, okay, they are paying taxes, and they might say, okay, I'm also going to increase. Or the more you increase, the more you pay.
The more you increase, in fact, I said gross. Maybe you didn't listen to that part.
Gross, yeah.
I said gross. So the more, in this particular tax line, there is nothing like deductible. Okay. If you receive rent of 100,000, you pay, and it's commercial, you pay 15%. Okay. So if you, because of the tax, if you decide to increase 110, then the charge will be based on 110, 15% of that. So it's a question of you get your rent and you apply the percentage and pay. But if because of that you want to be increasing, how high can you go? The more you increase, the more you will pay to GRA.
Well, I've seen the budget. 77% of the budget is coming from government local funds. Unlike you said, the Gambia is a tax-based economy. Yeah. This year, 2024, $19.2 billion, which we have exceeded. 2025, CG, was the objective and target?
Interesting question. Yeah. Actually, before I leave even the rental, GRA, as it is in consultation with our principal, Minister of Finance, yeah, we are working on rental tax compliance system that we want to bring, okay, for domestic taxes that will cover most of the properties that are in the Greater Banjul area. Okay. So we are in the process of, developing the system. We've already signed that contract, and we are trying to put data together. That's our major problem. Okay. Data from GBOS, data from Ministry of Justice, local government, municipalities, all over. So we are going after them to get all the data of these properties, putting them together in a database form, organized form, such that if we want to locate where LUCC is, we don't have to come to your house. Mm-hmm. We already know, because okay, we got the data.
Data already.
So data is live.
Yeah, it's important.
So once we have this data, we organize it the way we want it. We don't have to run after anybody. Okay. We will just look at where you are, which street, which position. We can zoom it and see, and then say this one did not pay. So in that case, we will be able to bring those that are not within our tax bracket. Okay. So you see what technology can do. And that is why I'm telling you that it is the only way forward. Technology, transformation. Okay. We have to move to digitalize every process that we are doing. So in your question of coming with 2025, yes. It's another year, it's going to be another year. Mm. But we've already discussed, because normally, as it is the best practice all over the world, all revenue generating administrations, what normally happen before a year ends, like way back in October, around October, we have sat with Minister of Finance, okay, and IMF, and we did our calculations internally, and we've agreed for 2025. We already did that. Okay. We went to Washington, and everything has been concretized. Yeah. Now we have taken a position. Okay. And that is nothing less than 23.2 billion. At the time we were discussing it, it was another 4 billion again. Okay. So it looks like now it's going to be every year 4 billion. Because last year...
But the finance minister was here last week, and he said, they can do it.
Yeah, yes. Well, so he believed in us. Yeah. And we believe in ourselves, and we believe in him too. Because the interesting thing is, when we agree with finance, Minister of Finance also do not leave us alone. Okay. They also play their role. Right now we have a directorate which is established. It's already there, headed by a director, a young gentleman, very hardworking, dedicated and honest. It's called Alaji Jallo. Okay. This young man is working day and night to support GRA in terms of policies. This is the thing. GRA is responsible for the operational side of revenue collection. But the policy part is the ministry. And now the ministry has created a department, and headed by Alaji. Now the minister has dedicated that gentleman to us. So we work with him day and night just to make sure that whatever target that we have, we work to getting that target, so that where there is an issue for ministries to come in as the policy arm. For example, when we want to get information from the diplomatic side on their rental income, ordinarily GRA cannot go there to the diplomat and ask for that. Yeah. So we have to go through Ministry of Finance, who will also write letters through Foreign Affairs, and then Foreign Affairs will help us to get to those people, those diplomats, to disclose the owners of the properties there. And we have been doing that, and it's paying dividends.
Just a quick one, Sigi. I've also seen, I mean, you have also deployed some of your staff in other countries. For example, Ansumana Bojang, who is in Dakar. Yeah. What's the purpose of having your staff in some of these countries? Yeah,
that's a very important question. You know, this day and age, we are always putting ourselves in a situation of sharing information and exchange of data. So Senegal, for Gambia, for example, we are in the middle of Senegal. One of the most important partners for us as a country is Senegal. So Ansumana being in Senegal, we have been getting officers there for the past 15 years. Yeah. It's just that Ansumana has become a person who is very active,
he's very proactive,
very intelligent, very smart, and very up to task. Yeah. So we are very proud to have a gentleman like him, a young man, but very pragmatic, and he knows what he's doing. So he is helping GRA. Any transaction that we need in Senegal, he takes care of it. Not only GRA, even other government officers who do normally have transactions in Senegal, Ansumana is always there to help. And I'm sure if you speak to the ambassador, he will tell you that his role is very important in that office. So he's someone we really trust, and we rely on him on all our transactions that with our bilateral partners in Senegal. So any issue we have in the border, for example, I'll give you an example. Most of the time we have issues at the border. Trucks are there, they are stopped by the Senegalese, they are stopped by this, or they are studying, this is the problem, they've been there for 2 days. We don't directly call the officers, we call Ansumana. Said, we have this issue at this place. Can you quickly go to your partners and talk to them so that that is addressed? So Ansumana will waste no time. He will go there and then they will discuss with them. Then those people will call and the problems are solved. So you can imagine without our officer being there, what would have been? Unfortunately for us, you know, the whole country is surrounded by Senegal. So that's why we took that strategic decision to get an officer at the embassy in Senegal.
Okay. Just a quick one, CJ. Someone is watching online and is asking me to ask you to clarify once more. Like, I mean, the pay as you earn that you said, I mean, certain amount, if we don't reach that, you know, you use it immediately, the PAYE. He's asking, is this annual earnings or monthly earnings?
No, you know, when we talk, bring me back to the PAYE.
Because someone is asking, so
I'm sure the person is...
Because we are also streaming live on the social media.
And so that's fine.
Exactly. And you want to make it more engaging. So
no, it's very good. I like that. I like questions coming outside. The thing is, we said 36,000 for 2025. We said 36,000 minimum taxable income. It would mean that it's annual. So you divide it by 12, you have how much? 3,000. Yeah. So you have to, if you are working, your earning has to be 3,000 above before you can pay tax. Now, because before it wasn't like that, it was lower than that. It was 24,000. So you divide it by 12. So that amount is annual taxable income. But if you want to break it down to months, you divide it by 12.
Interesting. I mean, recently, I mean, your collaboration with, I mean, your counterparts in Senegal and other countries. I mean, I know you at some point headed WATAF. I mean, how has that improved? I mean, or you know, help in supporting the work of GRA?
It's always good. Thank you. It's always good to collaborate with other countries, more especially countries that are developed to some extent ahead of you. So it becomes like a learning point. Most of the reforms that we are doing, you know, we it doesn't just come from the sky like that. We travel, we go to these meetings, we see other countries, what is happening there. And through these organizations, we do networking, and then we discuss with them how they get that. And because all of us love our country. You know, Aliu, if wishes were horses, this country would have been, we would make this country Dubai of West Africa. Because of the love we have for this country. We would make this country Dubai of Africa. But because it has to be gradual, everything we are doing has to be gradual. So what we do in this collaboration, we make sure that we take advantage of the situation. When the organization like WATAF, they get help from different places. I just need a tissue paper. Yeah. They get help from different places, and we, being a member, we also tap on the training facilities, the trainings that they do. Most of the time, our tax staffs get their training from them. And when they invite us for meetings in different countries, we also look at what is happening in those countries. And we try to bring that into our country. For example, we are members of ETAF, African Tax Administrative Forum. And recently we went to Rwanda for the annual meeting. And in Rwanda, during the course of our meeting, you know, after a couple of days, we requested that we should see the RURA, the equivalent of PURA, to go and look for something that we want to bring to Gambia, and that is the revenue assurance. They give us the opportunity and approve. We went there, they did the presentation for us, and at the end of the day, it was excellent. So we got an idea, we import an idea, and that we are going to bring here. And interestingly, the same people that are in Rwanda administering that are the same people that are coming here. So this, belonging to these organizations, has a lot of advantage. If you take advantage of the situation, you can also, like you have this now, tax stamp. Yeah. This was not here before.
I know when they brought the water, that was the first thing you looked at.
Yeah, exactly. When I said I needed water, when they brought me water, bottled water, the first thing I look at is this. Whether it has a tax stamp. Because now countrywide, from the highest office, State House, down, everywhere where you see water, canned drinks, and the likes, they have to get this. So, because we know the advantages this is bringing. I'm sure we'll come to that. Some of the reforms I can.
In fact, that's where I'm heading now, because we're running out of time. Some of the reforms for next year. Should we expect a major policy change?
Well, right now the processes are on. Okay. For example, we have already, in consultations with Minister of Finance, we have started this tax stamp that about 6 or 7 months ago. When we start, it's always an issue. Okay. Whenever you bring a new reform, people that are affected will complain for one reason or the other. But there is always a good reason why we bring these reforms. For example, when this tax stamps is going to carry us, we started it now, and it's growing, and we are almost there. But what it is bringing is under declaration that has been going on. Because when the people factories produce this, we are not there, and we rely on their own input to us. What they tell us, that's the tax, that's the production. The volume of their production, when they calculated, let's say 5%, and that's what they pay to us. And we've realized that when we started this, and now we are almost, only this tax line, over 100 million. If you compare the same, last year, the same period, you get in less than 12 million. So you can imagine, only on this. I'm not talking about the import. Import excise is different from this local one. If you put all together, you are over 400 million, compared to maybe less than about 150. So this is bringing us a great revenue. But not only that, it's also creating a bigger market in the economy, because it has reduced smuggling. Before this one, you see all different types of waters. water from left, right, center. Water is coming. You see different type of canned drinks coming all over. And the factories that are producing those drinks here or this water, they were competing. They were finding it very difficult to sell their products. So the market becomes smaller for them. Okay. But now, two things this brought. It has reduced drastically under declaration, and as a result, the revenue has gone up. Two, before you come. Okay. Two, it has also increased the importation, the volume of importation of all the canned drinks and others that are accessible goods, because the people that used to trade in that area before, they could not bring more because the market is already saturated. But now they have more space in the market, and now they have the leverage to bring more. If they used to bring 5, now they can bring up to 20 every month. Different importers, and once they bring it, it all goes based on the information that we are getting.
Okay. I mean, let's now look at the issue of, the recruitment strategies to attract the best, at GRA. And of course, we're in a times where people are always on the move for places where they will grow, for places where they'll be valued and respected, for places where, they get the needs that they want, as employees. How are you able to, maintain most of these skilled staffs at the GRA?
Thank you. At the level of GRA, we take different methods in terms of employment. The first, most important, we look at internal sourcing. We look at internally, there's a position. Do we have somebody within GRA? Not only, within GRA, we have 8 departments, 8 different departments. Most of the time when people talk, they talk about customs or domestic taxes. But behind the scene, there are stronger departments that are helping those people to do their work. So when there is a position open somewhere, we look at different departments. If there are competent staffs, then we advertise internally, and then some people will apply it, and then we fill the position. That's one method. The other method we have been doing in the past, it's targeted employment. We normally liaise with the university, and we try to recruit the best brains at a particular year. I think when we need, we get, for example, when we were bringing up the VAT and other, when we were bringing this, even this tax, we went to the university, we look at, and we want graduate, let's say we want 20 graduates, and we will check the best, and then we try to interview them, recruit them, boom, they start the work. So this is something we do. And then in addition, where there is a need, we do headhunting. We try to see, because, for example, when you talk about IT, the people that are here doing the IT work, they know the people that are at GRA, they know the people that are in another department. So within that field, they know each other. If we need 2-3 people, I would normally contact the head of my IT department and say, hey, I needed 2-3 ITs. I want you to check for me. You bring the best. So that's considered as headhunting. So these are some of the things that we do. Just sometimes where there's a need for us to get outsiders, without these 3 orders, we do advertisement. You see sometimes when you read papers, you see that GRA wanted to recruit a couple of people on this, that. So that's another method that we use. So in summary, we have different methods of recruitment. But recruitment is one side. Maintaining is another. With the level of GRA, we believe in training. We make sure that our staffs enjoy the maximum training. Because one thing you can do is to build up systems for your institution. But another thing you need to do is to train the people to man that system, because it has to go together. It cannot be mismatched. You put systems in place, people must be there to handle those systems efficiently. So we don't joke with training. And I think at the same time, in terms of staff retention, we have decent salary. But we also commit our staffs. We open doors for them to take building loans. So that we commit you. If you work in there, we give you probably 1.5 million for you to do a building, or 2 million. And now you have to pay that monthly. So that means that will take you for a long time, maybe up to the time of your retirement. So we also have car loans. So we create this kind of situation such that when staff comes in, for them to get out is difficult because we commit them.
Yes, certainly. It's quite interesting, CJ. What I've been told, we've run out of time. But like you said, to whom much is given, much is expected, and charity begins at home. I mean, your employees are the backbone of any institution. And if you value them and give them what they want, certainly they will stay and serve you. But if you don't, people are moving in for growth. They all want to grow. So that is something that everyone who is out there and you are heading an institution, you should consider. I mean, people need growth, and you really need to provide for them what they need, I mean, to grow as individuals. CJ, thank you so much for coming on the State of Affairs program. I know I'm told we've run out of time completely, but in just 20 seconds, your message to taxpayers and GRA staff.
Thank you so much. I want to summarize or finalize to say that at the level of GRA, we concentrate more on capacity building, and we will continue doing that for the next year, 2025. We have a target that we need to work on for 2025. We will continue leveraging on technology to digitalize all our systems, because the process is that we have to digitalize, and we will continue doing that, and by doing that we will be able to achieve. And for taxpayers that are over there, I want to appeal to them that let them come forward and pay. They shouldn't wait for GRA to come and tell them to pay. This is a country that belongs to all of us, and we all have to put our hands on deck to make sure that what needs to be done is done. We pay our tax so that our governments will be able to use that money to do development with respect to education, health, and infrastructural development.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was Yankuba Dabo, the Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority. That's all we have time for on this week's edition of your weekly State of Affairs program. I was your host, Aliou Cissé. Do join me next week. Until then, bye-bye from me and the entire team.